Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We're at 13955 Southwest 27th Street here in Beaverton. Had some issues with my monitor here. We're about halfway down line. We're going to push back out in case the last file didn't save, and then we'll pull back in again. We're checking the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. There's the main there. We're going to kill the water here. Alright, we're going to start rolling the camera back in here. Still have a little bit of water draining through. Should be just about done here.
So you get it, read it, and if you have questions, that's what you told me is get an email.
And the line terminates on Southwest 27th. Line comes out kind of under the garage floor area, it then cuts through the front yard, about halfway through the front yard, or crossed it anyways, where it turns and shoots out to the road. So first thing I noticed here, pulling back to the aggregate concrete that we're in right now, you got a separated pipe joint here that's letting dirt flow through it. So from a flow standpoint, not doing much right now to affect flow. However, that joint is open to the ground. It's likely letting some level of water escape. It's far more likely you have stuff coming into the pipe joint. Obviously, you've got dirt coming in, which can lead to progressive settling. A little bit of standing water there. That thing I can hardly even call a belly right now. We still have a little water trickling through. It's about 2 feet long, holding maybe 1/16 of an inch of standing water there right before the line starts to dive. And I attempted to locate that joint there. I was picking the locate up almost in the same location as the green T marking out in the middle of the street. It's just not one I'm able to locate accurately. But that's also one I would look into doing trenchlessly by liner. And then we've got a few other joints here. My camera's a little bit gunked up, but if you look up ahead right now, you've got dark rings around the pipe joint. Those are also indications that those joints are open to the ground, to an extent. Doesn't mean they're gaping wide open. You're probably not going to see moisture intrusion until the rainy season, but that dark ring comes from that, from the water intruding the line, and usually under hydraulic pressure when the ground's saturated with water. Just located there is a white paint marking right where the sidewalk is. Someone's already scoped this, it looks like. About 7 foot 6 inches deep there. So with a joint like we had up ahead there, and the age condition of that concrete pipe, it's not a scenario where I'd recommend spot repairs. It makes more sense to do it trenchlessly and just simply update the entire concrete or aggregate concrete section of the line there. And that can be done without digging. And the beauty of doing it that way and getting ahead of it before this thing starts to settle more to the point where those joints can start causing flow problems. When you let a line wear out to that extent, you lose the ability to do a liner on it anymore. And then you're looking at traditional repairs, which are much, much more costly. So now we're into transite concrete. So and there's a separated joint there. You're about 5 feet deep there, just to the left of the driveway in the bark dust. So the sidewall of the pipe here, and I noticed this on the first advance out, that joint right there, actually, you might have a crack there. It's really hard to see through all the gunk. You have what looks like dirt is coming down the sidewall of the pipe. You've got that brown substance going all the way up to the top of the line. That's not where the flow line of the sewer is. And I first noticed that when I first advanced out there. There is a grainy texture in the water that is indicative of that.
We're not able to inspect everything we should have.
Yeah, right.
I just went and located the transition there. That's under the driveway. I've turned water back on again here. When I first came through here after we had water run for a minute, we had, what looked more like an inch or more of standing water in the line. There may have been debris up ahead of my camera, potentially. My camera was underwater, though, for a portion of this. So I'm gonna let the thing fill back up here for just a moment longer. Right now, I'm just running a sink. I'm not putting the bathtubs or the water down the line or anything like that. It drained out significantly better than I thought it was going to, which sometimes can indicate there was some debris in front of the camera, partially damming the pipe up. But normally when you get a camera like this completely submerged underwater, when you shut the water off when it's just a sink running, generally you don't get this level of water accruing and then also dissipating. And what that can be a sign of is the joints are open to the ground. All right, just ran water there, let it drain off again. Yeah, so the water level in this particular part of the line is changing. When we just came back through here a moment ago, what I would do is I would consult a liner company. You're going to have some level of standing water there. As long as that can be, the epoxy, for instance, can be cured in that amount of standing water, you may very well retain a little bit of a belly there, but by the time you put a liner in that's smooth as glass, standing water like that becomes almost completely insignificant. Anyway, that's because of the condition of both the transite and standard concrete pipe there. The joints are the biggest concern here. You have a fair amount of them in here that are exposed to the ground. That's why I recommend looking into the prospect of, updating it, but I would highly recommend looking into the prospect of an epoxy liner. It's generally a big money saver. Much of this line is under concrete, and it looks very, very deep once you get out into the roadway. If repairs are not done, I would highly recommend rescoping the line at about the 1 year mark. That's going to give you a baseline for how the line's handling your living habits, and you'll want to keep an eye on things as time goes on until you are ready to update. But right now, with the amount of settling that we've got here with some of the joints, if you can do a liner on it, I would recommend doing it that way so you can take advantage of the cost savings that come with that. You can do it however you want. That's just a way I would recommend looking into doing it. Make sure you do a rescope after any repairs are completed to check the work.